it's easy for me to say I hurt and they write me a prescription. It's easy to fake. Most prescription addicts do doctor shop or they buy other people's prescriptions.
It was easy, says Joshua Dudley, a former drug addict in Columbus.
You could go and tell the doctor that you had lower back pain, and he would write you a prescription for 180 Roxys. That's like a really strong pain pill that you can just break down, snort.
Michelle Atencio also found drugs wherever she could. Now out of jail and clean for the last 2 years, the Columbus native used to grab plenty of prescription painkillers.
And they were readily available, and it was, you learned how to take and use one or use the other and kind of make a combination that worked for you.
One time in the ER, the doctor gave this junkie a warning.
And he said, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this with you. He says, if you keep this up, you're going to die.
But a small percentage of health professionals don't have the patient's or the addict's best interest at heart.
If I can give a doctor $300 to write me a prescription and he's never seen me before, it's greed.
Muskogee County Sheriff's investigator Johnny Ellerby describes a pill mill as a medical official or facility prescribing or dispensing narcotics without a legitimate medical purpose. And one of those massive pill mills was run out of the Relief Institute of Columbus in 2011. That's according to indictments this year in Albany, Georgia's federal court. Prosecutors there say the so-called clinic dispensed millions of oxycodone and hydrocodone pills to patients from Florida to Ohio.
It's either doctors or nurses, PAs, anybody that can get a hold of a prescription pad.
People want to pretend like it isn't a problem, sort of the not in my backyard kind of issue.
John Niederman helped prosecute doctors involved in Anna Nicole Smith's overdose death. The Los Angeles County Deputy DA says it's not just addicts conning doctors, but also some health professionals and pain clinics giving meds with no questions asked for profit. That's why he traveled across the country to give tips to police and attorneys at the National Prescription Drug Summit in Atlanta.
How to target the doctors who truly are issuing prescriptions illegally.
Clearly, many of these operations are really reselling the pills, so that's drug dealing rather than folks who really need the medicine.
Georgia officials, like the state's attorney general, tell Newsleader 9 taking down pill mills is a priority, but it's not easy.
To convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that a doctor is guilty of a crime for what we perceive as them acting within the normal scope of their everyday business it's a difficult sell to a jury.
It is less than 1% of the population of doctors and pharmacists, but they are the ones who are feeding into the community far more product than is ever appropriate for practicing good medicine.
But we have certainly made arrests where several hundreds of pills have been involved that belong to other people.
Drug agents tell me even a small bottle of narcotics like this could go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars out on the streets. Here on the 4th floor of the Government Center in downtown Columbus, there's a drop-off box where you can go and take your unused prescription drugs. And patients are not the only ones being held accountable.
An orthopedic surgeon would have an average of 189 pills per prescription.
Pharmacists talked about it for workshops at the summit, where we also sat down with a national leader for the Drug Enforcement Administration, which regulates 1.6 million physicians, pharmacies, manufacturers, and distributors. His simple message to them:
Folks, you're part of the source of this issue, so you need to be with us as a solution on this issue.
Are they cured because you refuse to dispense? Are they going to the next pharmacy, or are they on the street looking for it? Or are they getting heroin?
We're seeing the doctor shopping and the illegal prescribing as the beginning of the problem that leads down the road to further problems.
And as more pill mills go under, users are shifting from painkillers and street drugs to heroin because it's as cheap as $10 for a hit.
Depending on the drugs.
Doctors like James Sirleaf, who leads the Columbus Midtown Medical Emergency Department, know how their prescriptions can indirectly have deadly consequences. They try not to overprescribe, but there's also fraud.
Just this week, I was called by a pharmacy. Somebody had taken my license and DEA information, and they were calling prescriptions and narcotics in my name.
Pharmacies have successfully been using a tracking system, which is why you have to show your ID. Certain drugs are restricted, partly to prevent overdoses, according to a California pharmacist.
Hydrocodone was rescheduled to be more controlled a couple of years ago, and then in California we started tracking tramadol.
Law enforcement also have ideas on how to prevent these pill mills or doctor shopping.
There would have to be some kind of computer database that says Jason Dennis has been to this doctor. So when he comes to this doctor, it says, hey, you've already been over here, so we can't see you.
There have been reports of music icon Prince struggling with opioid addiction for years, even days before his death. In our second special report, you'll meet a former drug dealer from Columbus, plus a mother and father who buried their sons and how they all turned tragedy into action.